We're here in person at the Woonsocket Library. And I have my friend Punch with me today. And then we also have a couple of other friends with us. We have our friend Pearly the Pirate, our friend Rose Petal, and our friend Edmund. And we are going to have so much fun with all of you today. Punch, I have the most wonderful idea.
All right.
Why don't we tell a story?
Ooh, I love stories.
Now, we've told our friends lots of stories over the past few months. We've told them stories about unicorns and birds and the seasons and all kinds of different stories. But you know what would be wonderful? I think we should tell them my story.
Ooh, that would be wonderful. I think I know that story very well.
Oh, all right. Well, why don't you start it then?
All right. It all started late one night on a cold January evening. And Lori turned to her husband Michael and said, "It's time! And they rushed to the hospital, and the doctor said,
Punch! That's your story.
Right, I'm so sorry. Oh, yes, yours is much more well-known, and nothing all like
why
that.
don't we stick with my story?
All right, then.
Now, my story begins with 4 very special words. Do you know what those words are, Punch?
I believe I do.
Would you like to tell all our friends?
Yes, I would. Copyright Woonsocket Public Library.
Not quite.
No?
Do any of you know what those special words are?
Well, I think I know. Last time on Glee.
No. Rose Petal?
At the front gate.
No.
Close cover before striking.
Those were all very, very good suggestions.
Some very important.
But the words that I were thinking of were the very special words, once upon a time.
Oh.
Can we all say those words together on the count of 3? 1, 2, 3.
Once upon a time,
there was a beautiful queen who gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Now, just before the queen died, she held the baby in her arms and she named her. Do you know what she named her, Punch?
I do.
Oh,
Heavy.
what?
She said, "Oh my, this baby's heavy."
No, Punch.
Oh, Snow White. She named the baby Snow White.
That's right. And Snow White continued to grow more and more lovely. Oh, I have an idea, Punch. Why don't you act out all the other characters in this story?
I think I could do that.
Now, Snow White's father. Snow White continued to grow more and more lovely, and her father, the king.
Oh, yes. Aha! I'm the king. So young and full of vigor.
He was growing very old and ill.
Oh, my youth, my vigor.
And he wanted Snow White to have a mother. So he married a beautiful woman. There we go. But alas, her beauty was only on the inside.
Oh,
The outside, that's right,
Outside.
that's right. It was only on the outside. On the inside, where it really counted, the queen was wicked and ugly. Oh, exactly like that. But she had a magic mirror that she would look into every day. Do you know what she said to the mirror?
Yes, I know this part. I'm sure about this part. Mirror, mirror on the nightstand, where am I gonna find a juicy name?
Punch. That's not quite what she said. Here, let's say it together. Maybe my friends will know. Ready? Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of us all? Very good.
And then the mirror said, "Why, it is you, my queen."
Exactly. And this made the queen so happy. She was always looking into her magic mirror. But then one day, she looked into the mirror and she said,
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of us all?
And this time the mirror replied, Snow White will soon become more fair. It was a very different answer. Now, this made the queen very upset. So she decided that she was going to stop me from becoming more beautiful than her. And she was going to make me do all the work, all the washing and sweeping and even cleaning the litter box.
the litter box?
Oh, but I didn't mind. I didn't mind. I like to help out. Do any of you like to help out around the house to help make your space nice and clean? So I didn't mind helping out. One day, I was by the well getting water to wash the floors when suddenly I was come upon by a handsome stranger. Handsome stranger.
I've never really played Handsome Stranger before.
Oh, just be charming and dashing.
All right.
Oh, very good. Very good. Now, I didn't know that this stranger was a prince, but I did know that he was handsome and he was the one for me. But before we could get to know each other better, the queen screamed for me to come back into the castle.
Snow White, get yourself back into this castle and sweep these floors!
Now, the queen's angry outburst came because the mirror had just told her that I had become the fairest of them all. So, she decided that she was going to come up with a plan to get rid of me. Now, deep in the woods there lived a huntsman. Do you know what a huntsman is, Punch?
Yes, I believe I do. It's someone that he goes around and he hunts things, sometimes for food.
Exactly, he goes and hunts things for food. So this huntsman lived in the forest, and he was a good friend of the queen's, and the queen gave me a box.
Ooh, that was very nice of her.
Well, she was trying to trick me. Let me explain to you what happened. She handed me the box and said that the huntsman was very ill in the forest, and the box contained a medicine, and could I please bring it to him so that he could get better. Now, I did not want the huntsman to be sick, so I ran into the forest, and I saw the huntsman there finishing up the day's hunt.
Well, that does that hunt. Looks like all done here.
And I went to go hand him the box.
Oh, thank you, miss. Ah, yes, the medicine I was waiting
Oh,
for.
but no,
I'm so ill.
No, Punch. She tricked me. There was really no medicine in the box. She had a plan for the huntsman to take my heart out, put it in the box, and bring it to the queen so that she would know once and for all that I was taken care of.
Oh, okay, I think I understand what's going on. So then the huntsman was like, well then, Snow White, I guess it comes to that time when I get to be killing you. But you're just too lovely, Snow White. I couldn't bring myself to hurt you. Besides, I'm just too ill right now, and without the medicine...
No, Punch. He wasn't really ill. The queen tricked me.
Well, it's a good thing, because there was no medicine in the box. He wasn't going to get better.
It is a very good thing. He was fine. The huntsman was fine.
Good.
So the huntsman had an idea. He was going to take the heart of one of the animals killed in the hunt that day, place it in the box, and tell the queen that it was my heart. But I had to run away, never to return again.
Where do you run?
I ran into the woods. And I ran and ran as fast as I could, looking for somebody to help me, when suddenly I came upon a cute little cottage. Ooh. Now, I looked in the cottage, and it was just a lovely, cute little cottage, but nobody appeared to be home. Now, it looked like everything was very messy. So I had an idea. I was going to clean up the cottage for the owners. So I let myself in, the door was unlocked, and I cleaned up everything just so, and then I went up the stairs to take a rest.
Wait one moment. Wait a minute. Up the stairs?
Yes.
In a little cottage?
Yes, it was quite small.
A tiny cottage with 2 floors?
Oh, well, I grew up in a castle with 34 floors.
All right, I will continue with this suspension of disbelief.
Now, before long, the owners of the cottage were coming home. Now, does anybody know who lived there? Pearlie, do you think you know who lived there?
Was it a lot of mice?
No.
Oh, were there 3 bears?
Close, but No.
I'm sorry.
Edmund?
A very small giant.
Well, that's actually close.
Isn't
but-
that just a person?
No.
Do you know who lived there, Punch?
I think, was it the Seven Dwarfs?
It was the Seven Dwarfs.
Of course.
Oh, and I think the Seven Dwarfs. It was, Mo, Larry, Curly, Shemp, Bill, Ted, and Albert Einstein.
Sure.
I did it!
Now, the dwarves came into the cottage and they didn't recognize it because it was so clean. So at first they thought they had come into the wrong house.
That's a really messy house. If they came into the house, they're like, wait a minute,
Well,
it's clean. We couldn't possibly live here.
I rearranged the furniture a little bit. The feng shui was off.
Oh, the feng shui. Yes, you have to have the feng shui, everyone.
So the dwarves came to the cottage, and when they realized it was their house, they knew somebody must have cleaned it. So they crept up the stairs, thinking that someone might still be there. And when they got up the stairs, they saw me asleep across all 7 of their little beds. All their beds were too small for me, so I pushed them all together.
But they were reasonably sized enough for a second floor on a tiny cottage.
That's right. Now, when the dwarves came, I woke up and I saw them and I begged them to let me stay with them because I had nowhere to go. And they said of course I could stay. And in return, I agreed to help them with the cooking and the cleaning.
But
and
not the litter box.
Oh, of course the litter box.
Oh,
yes.
you had one chance. You had one chance.
That's all right. I don't mind. Now, I settled in very nicely with the 7 dwarfs. Meanwhile, back at the queen's palace, the huntsman arrived with the box.
Is that medicine you wanted, my majesty?
Punch. Remember, there was no medicine. It was a trick. Do you remember? There was no medicine. There was never any medicine.
Well, it appears only one person fell for this trick.
All right. Now, he handed the queen the box, and when the queen opened up the box, she started to cry tears of joy, thinking that heart in the box was mine. So she rushed to her mirror. Do you remember what she said to the mirror?
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of us all?
And the mirror said, Snow White is still the fairest of them all. And she is staying in the cottage of the 7 dwarves. Now the queen knew that she needed to take matters into her own hands and get rid of me herself. So she thought and thought until she came up with a plan. She decided that she was going to turn herself, using her magic, into an old peddler woman. Do you know what a peddler is, Punch?
Yes, I do. It's a bicycle enthusiast.
Bicycle enthusiast. Oh, because pedals. Oh, not quite though. A peddler is someone who sells something.
Oh, like bicycles.
Well, yes, I suppose they could sell bicycles, but in this case, she was going to sell poisoned apples.
No one's going to want to buy poisoned apples.
Oh, well, she wasn't going to tell me that it was poisoned.
But that's false advertising. Thank you. That is false advertising.
All right, moving on. The queen disguised herself and took her basket of apples to the dwarves' cottage. Now, at that moment, the dwarves were all heading off for work, and they told me, they said, Snow White, make sure that you don't let anyone in the house. We don't want you to talk to strangers while we're gone. You should never talk to strangers, especially when your family is not home. Now, and they went off to work. And I had told them that I wouldn't talk to anybody or let anybody in, but I looked out the door. A knock came upon the door.
Oh, come in.
Oh, no, Punch, we're telling a story, that was me.
Oh, come in.
No, I was making the knock.
Come in.
All right. Now, I looked outside and I saw the old peddler woman and she looked so tired and thirsty.
Hello there. I have bicycles and poisoned apples.
No, Punch. She didn't tell me that it was a poisoned apple.
Your Majesty, if you're watching this right now, I just want to tell you that I do not appreciate this fabrication of false advertising.
All right, moving on.
All right, but I'll play her game. Yoo-hoo, I've got bicycles and apples for sale.
Oh, how lovely, I thought. And I gave her a drink of water because she seemed very thirsty. And in return, she gave me the most beautiful red apple that I had ever seen. And I stared at this beautiful apple and I didn't want anything more than to take a bite. So I took one big, delicious, juicy bite. Suddenly, I felt very, very sleepy. And I fell to the ground in a deep, deep sleep that almost seemed like death. Now the queen was very excited and she threw off her disguise and ran out into the forest. Just then, the 7 dwarfs came home and they saw me lying on the ground. And they, of course, thought that I was dead. Oh, you
Albert, I was being Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein,
I
all
was
right.
being Albert Einstein.
That's very, very clever of you.
Thank you.
Now, nobody knew what to do, so the littlest dwarf, I think in your version of the story it would be Shemp.
It would be Shemp.
Shemp, yes. So the littlest dwarf went out to get help. And he returned with none other than the handsome stranger that I had met by the well. Oh, that's lovely. Now, when the handsome stranger saw me, he also thought I was dead. And he didn't know what he should do. So he very gently kissed my lips. Oh wait, we're in a pandemic.
I'll send you a kiss over Zoom later.
Oh, wonderful. And that kiss was a magic kiss. I awoke and I stared at the prince of my dreams. And we rode off to his castle and we lived
In Bayonne, New Jersey.
No, I was going to say happily ever after.
What's the difference?
Well, technically happily ever after can be wherever you want it to be. So it technically could be in Bayonne, New Jersey, but why don't we finish off the story with happily ever after altogether?
All right.
And they all lived happily ever after. Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, my friends, for listening to my story, and thank you, my friends, for helping.